Here we go. Sword. Cheers, man.
What's good, everyone? Hope you're well. Welcome back to the show. I thought we'd do something a little bit different tonight and talk some transfers. Seeing as every time we turn on Sky Sports News, there's something else happening. It's that time of the year, man. Literally, there's 10 days left, and everyone's decided to wake up. I never know why this happens. Why don't teams just do things early? It frustrates the hell out of us all. But things are starting to happen. We're going to talk about the Trossard deal to Arsenal. Danny Ings going to West Ham today, which come out of absolutely nowhere. I did not see that one coming at all. We're going to talk Leeds as well, because obviously they've signed a couple as well and also got through their FA Cup. And I want to talk about Tielemans, Ash, because there's a lot of rumours that something might be happening there towards the end of the window. And of course, we'll just get your opinions on what you think is going to be happening window-wise and with your teams. But I want to start with this Trossard move because it looks like it's going to be kind of done imminently. There's a lot of rumours suggesting that kind of 20 million rising to 27 million to Arsenal. It's been great for Brighton, to be fair. I was hoping for Maz to jump on to get his opinions on it because you know he's a big fan of the player. I kind of feel like whoever Arsenal or Chelsea or whoever it be should just go and take the scout from Brighton because they just get everything right. I mean, seriously, they've got Cucurella, Ben White, Dan Burn, Bissouma, now Caicedo. Obviously, Trossard now going as well. McAllister, he's not going to stay at Brighton for a long time.
That Mitoma as well.
Mitoma. Oh, wow. Sensational. So, for me, it's like,
Is Lamptey still there as well?
Lamptey is quality as well. Let's raid Brighton. I mean, like, let's be fair. They have actually got an unbelievable set of players and, fair play to them. But let's come to you first, Bill. Like, Trossard to Arsenal, is that sort of signing that can give us a little bit of strength in depth and give us a good go at the title? Do you think it's a good signing for Arsenal?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you've seen what he's done for Brighton, how good he's been for Brighton for a while now. It's not just a new thing. It's not a recent thing that he's started to play well or anything. He's been a solid player for them for a good while now since he's come in. And I think it's a fantastic signing for Arsenal as well. You know, he's Premier League proven, which with Mudryk he didn't really have. You had all of the potential with Mudryk for an extortionate fee. But I think if you look at the two deals, personally, I think I'd prefer the Trossard deal because you know that he's Premier League proven, a fraction of the price as well. I mean, 20 million raising to 27 million. It's you find that kind of stuff down the couch these days, or the owners of these clubs do anyway. So yeah, it's a fantastic deal for Arsenal and exactly what you need. You know, if Martinelli gets injured now, you've got the perfect replacement in Trossard. If Saka gets injured, you've still got Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira. You know, you're starting to build a decent squad now. And I think this signing just adds to that. And I think it's certainly a signing that can bolster the squad and you can win the league with. So, yeah.
Hey, Billy, I love you, man. I'm loving what I'm hearing, bro. I'm loving what I'm hearing. Joe, let me bring this comment in. Mark, big up, Mark. Says, Dan, do you think his attitude's a one-off? I hate for him to come in and upset the dressing room. I personally feel like it's just him and De Zerbi had fallen out and his contract's coming to an end and he didn't want to sign. So do you think there's any issues with his attitude there, bro? Or do you see this as a good signing?
No, I see it as a good signing. I read that comment as it came in and I'm a bit like... Listen, when he knows big clubs are after him, of course he's going to want to push through that move. I get from maybe Brighton's perspective, they might be a bit frustrated by the way he's gone about it. But like you say, it seems like there was a clear fallout between him and De Zerbi. It was a bit mad when we found out the weekend he'd done one and then he released that statement saying he ostracised me and made me feel small in front of the full squad and that. So I don't think it's all just on Trossard. So, and I think we know with Arteta, he doesn't suffer no fools. You know, he went into Arsenal, he got rid of all them bad apples, you know, regardless of how well they were regarded, you know. You just to look at Aubameyang and the way he was lauded, and now you look at it and say, do you know what? The guy can't, you know, he's not even doing bits at Chelsea, you know. It was the right move, and that's just facts. So Arteta's not going to bring anyone into that fold that's going to upset the apple cart. And the mad thing is with Premier League football, they have people everywhere. They will know about Trossard's character before they've even said, right, okay, let's make this move. If they thought he was a bad apple, they wouldn't have gone near it, because like it's been said by Mark, they don't want anyone to come in and derail what is a title charge right now, do they? So they're not going to do that. I think it's a great signing, mate. And like Billy just said, you know, it gives the opportunity to maybe let Martinelli get a little bit of a rest from time to time, because like Billy said, you know, Trossard's done it in the Prem. You know what I mean? It wasn't too long ago, he got a hat-trick against Liverpool, wasn't it? You know what I mean? He's a top player. Okay, it's not the flashy Mudryk name and all that sort of stuff, but ultimately, I'd like to see Trossard smash it. I'm not a big fan of Chelsea, so yeah, let's hope Mudryk flops and Trossard smashes it. There you go.
That would be good, man. Because
man.
Seeing as Mudryk was twerking for Arsenal like for about 2 weeks.
Mad, wasn't it? Yeah. I felt almost bad for him, bro. A little bit.
Oh.
See, he wanted that move so bad, but obviously you're not. And that's another good thing for Edu and all that they weren't willing to be held to ransom. They just said, look, mate, I'm sorry, we're not going to match that, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I mean, a lot of people have asked my opinions on it, and I can understand both sides. I can understand the frustration from Arsenal side, because we wanted the player and we were excited about this elite player coming in who's going to be world class, etc. But I also understand the other side that's like, look, Chelsea trumped us. Just put your hands up. We ain't going to pay silly money and go mad. Yeah. And Chelsea are. I mean, they've got to get investigated soon. It's getting ridiculous now. They've signed another player today for another £30 million today. Like, it's just absolute madness, mate. They're just flat. This Todd Bowley he's even more nuttier than Roman, mate. Like,
yeah, he is, isn't he?
He don't care, man. He's just like, what's his name? Mudryk. Right. What did I want? 100 million. Oh, go on then. Go and get him tomorrow. And you think, Jesus Christ, it's absolute mad, this guy. But I think your boys are right with Trossard, and I think that Premier League proven and for me would be an absolute steal for that money. So, Ash, I want to come to you, because with Arsenal, I feel we're still short in the forward areas and in our midfield if we really want to look at our strength in depth. But I wanted to ask you with the Trossard signing, Billy mentioned it, Saka, Martinelli, Smith-Rowe, now Trossard, Fabio Vieira, Ødegaard, and then when Jesus comes back, we've got him and Nketiah. Do you think we're all right in that area, or do you feel like we're still a little bit light, or what's your thought?
No, I think Arsenal now will have a lot more depth. They've obviously got the man in that they feel they needed to sort of, whether he comes in as backup, because personally, you wouldn't really want to upset a winning formula right away and throw him straight into the starting lineup. But I think you'll see a lot of him when them legs start getting tired in big games and things like that. But I do think now Arsenal have got the squad to go and do it this season. I think, personally, I do think they should probably take the Europa League a little lightly. I think probably experiment in that competition now, because there's too much on the table to mess up for Arsenal. But in the top half of the field, I think they've absolutely got enough depth now. Absolutely.
Good stuff, man. Listen, I wanted to get your thoughts on Tielemans, because there's a lot of rumours. Well, it's not rumours today. There's rumours for God knows how long now that he's probably not going to be a Leicester player for a lot longer. I still don't know that you'll get rid of him this window, but I wanted to get your thoughts on anything you've heard from before. I know you don't want to lose him. Maddison, likewise, doesn't look like he's going anywhere. He can't keep fit at the moment, so I think you're safe with that one. Although I think in the summer, Newcastle will probably put in a bid for Maddison again. Tielemans, though, like 6 months left. The Trossard deal just got done like that. I'm expecting, if we are going to get Tielemans, it to go about the same pace, and we'll just one day wake up and Arsenal will have him. Do you think that Arsenal will be the destination for Tielemans if a bid was to come in this month from a few teams? Or do you think Man United, Liverpool could all get involved as well? Like, what's your thoughts on Tielemans, mate?
I think the noise around sort of Leicester City is that Arsenal are the preferred destination, not only for the player, but Arsenal are very interested in him as well. Now, the only sort of noise that I'm hearing is the fact that it's more than likely going to be the summer that he goes. But it seems likely that Arsenal is going to be the destination that Tielemans ends up going to. I think it'd be a great fit. I think he'd sit in the squad nicely. He's a great team player. He's always played for the shirt at Leicester, even when there's been speculation around him. But yeah, going back to the question, I think definitely he will end up at Arsenal, and I can't see him at any other Premier League club.
I really hope you're right, man, because I really like the player. I think he's a fantastic talent. And I do think with Tielemans that, and I don't watch Leicester like you, mate, so this is kind of a question for you. You did kind of touch on it there, and I think it's important to know. When players are coming down to the end of their contract, some of them lose their heads. They're not bothered. They're just like, oh, I'm leaving. I don't actually care what happens at Leicester here. But from what I can see on the highlights, match of the day, he seems fully committed still, Tielemans, which must be a good sign in terms of his professionalism.
Honestly, he's always played for the shirt. There's been speculation on him now since the start of the season through the summer. And he's always been brilliant. Like, I remember it was only sort of 10 games ago when we were going on a bit of a spell. And he were grabbing the badge when he sort of would knocking the ball out to play and trying to whip the crowd up and stuff, which has been difficult to do at the King Power this season. And like you say, you wouldn't expect a player that's dwindling down his contract to have that sort of fire in his belly for the shirt, but he really has done still, and he's been excellent for Leicester. And if he left us, there'd be no quabbles about his professionalism from any Leicester fan, I don't think.
Listen, fair play, man, fair play. Billy, if Arsenal were to do that, Trossard and Tielemans, do you think that would be good enough for a title challenge for Arsenal? I mean, some people are saying we're in one already, but do you think that would be enough to take us all the way, or do you still feel a bit short, mate?
To be honest with you, I was just going to say, I think you're already in one. And I do think, like I said, with the Trossard deal, you know, it gives you that strength in depth as now, and also competition for places. You know, just quickly going back to the Trossard one, you know, he's now got Martinelli up for on that left hand side. You know, if he comes on with 20 minutes to go, he's then got to show why he should be starting over at Martinelli, and vice versa. So it's only going to better each other, you know. Getting back to the question that you proposed to me, I to be honest with you, I do think that you're very much in a title race. I do think those two additions will absolutely help you, because they're two fantastic footballers at the end of the day. And to be honest with you, I hope you do it. It's just nice to see someone other than Man City and Liverpool, to be honest with you, up there. So, yeah, all the way. Come on, you Gunners.
Let's hope so, man. Let's hope so. Joe, let's finish with you, man. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Arsenal? And what do you think we have to do this transfer window if we want to confirm and clinch that title, mate?
Yeah, I think the first 11's fine. I think that's clear. I like it. I like Arsenal. Out of the big clubs, big six, if you like. I've always liked them. And it's quite funny that what Billy's just mentioned there, because it wasn't only a year ago or something that I had Liverpool fans on my show, and they were saying, you should thank us that, you know, that this league hasn't become a farmers league, etc., you know, giving it all that. And then isn't it funny now how they look well out of it? Man City are obviously behind Man United and Arsenal, and I just thought, this is the Premier League. Football's cyclical; it goes in cycles. We know how it goes, and maybe it's time for Arsenal to be back at the pinnacle, if you like. Listen, I think the first 11's good enough. Even across the back line, I'm thinking, if Saliba got injured or whatever, you just move Ben White across, then you bring in Tomiyasu, you've got cover at left back, you know. I think you're stacked. Maybe, like you say, a midfielder. If you take Thomas Partey out of there, is there issues? I mean, I know you've been linked with Declan Rice. That's not going to happen in January, of course, but that'd be great for you in the summer if you could get Declan Rice. I can only see it getting better and better, to be honest, mate. You just need to bolster out the squad, and signings like Tielemans and Trossard, who are Premier League proven, will help do that, you know, and they're not going to break the bank, you know, so I think it's great, man.
Yeah, man. What's massive for me as well is they're Premier League proven, and that for me means that they're just going to slot in. It's none of this bed down into the league, try and get used to it. they know it. And, Trossard for me has been on fire. I think he's got 7 goals in 16 games. That's unreal. Like Erdegaard's got 8 in about that as well. So he's going to be a great addition. I think Tielemans, whether it happens or not, will be a player that I will look at and think great signing. But I'm with you, Joe. I do worry for Thomas Partey's injury. Just like Man United just got Casemiro out. Now they're all losing their heads. That was Arsenal. The only game we've lost this season was Man United away and Thomas Partey was injured. And we got caught on the break 3 times. So, unfortunately, he's so important and pivotal to how we're wanting to play. And you're right, Declan Rice would address that issue. But yeah, let's be honest. It's... It ain't going to happen. If it happens at all, it will be in the summer. It ain't going to be this month. So, yeah, that does worry me. El Neni, he can do a job. Lokonga, unfortunately, doesn't look to be the player we were hoping he was going to be. But El Neni certainly can come in and do a job, but not long term. If he's to come in for a game, I'll be okay. But long term, I'd worry for that, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, listen, I hope, of course, that we do it as a Gooner. And it's good to hear that you three are feeling positive for Arsenal's chances this season. And just before we do move on, I wanted to get, a lot of Arsenal fans have been proven wrong, including myself this season, that Arteta could turn things around. I personally felt like it was just not happening, not working, and felt again last season that we missed out on top 4 without any European competition and it just weren't working. But I think all the work he's done off the pitch in terms of removing all of the players, you mentioned Aubameyangs and Mustafi and Ozil and Kolasinac, and the list goes on. All the work he's done off the pitch is now starting to show on it, and I think we've been superb this season. So, Ash, I wanted to get your opinions on what Arteta's done at Arsenal, mate.
Yeah, well, he's been absolutely fantastic. Like you say, even when the doubters were out in force, which, even as a neutral, not an Arsenal fan, I was a doubter and I thought he's running the club into the ground at one stage. But what he was doing was absolutely spot on. He's got the attitudes out of the dressing room. He's created a team that wants to play for each other. Man to man, there might not be superstar names, but they're playing as a team. And it's really, really working. He's done a great job. He's got in there. Even players like, Guendouzi went as well, didn't he? And I know he's doing all right where he's gone. But the rest of them, like Joe said earlier, they've not really set the world alight to the new clubs they've gone. So Arteta knows what he's doing. And he's got this group of players playing some attractive football as well. Arsenal are a joy to watch like they were back in the day this season. Silky passing, attacking football. And Arteta's the man to praise for that. Nobody else but him managing this team.
Yeah, fair play, man. Bill, are you on the same lines as Ash?
Absolutely, yeah. I've said a couple of times, particularly recently as well, that Arsenal are the only team that I properly fear playing against now. I mean, I never enjoy going into games because I'm always a nervous wreck. But against Man City, they look beatable this season. Like if you can stop that supply to Haaland, you can beat them this season. And I mean we came very close to beating them earlier on in the season. And Arsenal are the only team that I look at and I think, we're going to lose this one, particularly with Unai Emery as well. It's what you've got going on there is just fantastic. And I think the Amazon documentary as well, I think that did you wonders as well, particularly for us neutrals as well, because I think a lot of us were going into that, you just last day, you just dropped out of the top 4. Everyone was expecting a few fireworks going on, like what's happening, like get the popcorn out kind of thing. But I think that gave Arteta so much more respect because we all saw how he's working, what he's doing, and you can really see that there's a good culture around the club. And like you say, the stuff that he's done on the pitch, you're now really starting to see on the pitch, and it's great to see, I think.
Fair play to you, man. Maz, welcome. I hope you're well, bro. We've just been speaking a bit about, obviously, the move for Trossard to Arsenal. Everybody on the panel thinks it's a good move for Arsenal. I'm just wondering if you can give us Matoma and Caicedo as well. Look, I'd love that. But in like seriousness, Chelsea, yeah, it's looking like Chelsea. Oh, listen, don't even talk to me about Chelsea. But, I want to ask you a serious question, Maz. I feel like I mean, we've known each other a couple of years, and I feel like every time we've spoken to each other, you've been like, "Yeah, it's a shame, but we'll replace him. Yeah, it's a shame, we'll replace him." And I'm like, "How can it be a shame you replace him?" And you do. Like Kukurea, he's been replaced. You haven't really missed him. Bissouma, straight away, yeah, we'll just put Caicedo in. Like, you must have such faith in your scouting network, and it's amazing to me that no one's looked at that and thought, let's just go and, like Chelsea, for example, let's just go and nick that. Then we don't have to buy all their players. We'll just get them to select them. Like, you must have confidence in that. Talk to me about this Trossard move, man, and what you think of it, bro.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the same answer. I'm not too worried, to be honest, just because we'll replace him. But and also talking to Chelsea, they actually took our head scout, chief scout already.
Yeah, they did.
So yeah, they're one step towards that anyway. But yeah, to answer your question, great deal for us. I think 27 million for a 28-year-old who has had his issues with attitude and has inconsistencies with form. I think 27 million, I would have bit your hand off. We bought him for 16 or 15 million. So to get 3.5 years out of him, plus make another 15 million on top, I think is unbelievable business. And yeah, I think it was definitely the right time to go. His agent came out, said some stuff about us and the manager. So it never looked good from that point onwards. And he left the country as well in a strop. So yeah, from my perspective, great play on his day. Unbelievable. As we saw against Liverpool, scored a hat-trick at Anfield. I think first place since Arshavin to do that. So, he's a quality player on the day, but I'm actually not that fussed about him leaving because we've got Matoma playing unbelievable at the moment. And we've got
quality, mate.
Yeah, and we've got some unbelievable players coming through as well. We've got Adingra, Buonatone we've just signed. We've got some class young players coming through in Caicedo. So, yeah, in that area, I'm cool with it. If Caicedo goes, that's a different story because I feel like in centre midfield we're a bit short, especially with Mwepu retiring as well. So yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm not too fussed with Trossard, but if it was Caicedo or some other players, then I would be pretty worried.
What sort of a player are we getting, Maz, Arsenal?
Like I said, on his day, he's unplayable at times. He's very good at getting in the pockets. He can play in multiple positions, out left, out right, in the number 10. Very versatile. And yeah, you are getting a very good player. And I think the fact that he covers multiple positions for you, in case, let's say, Martinez or Saka get injured, he can play in either position. So I think that's the key strength for Arsenal signing him, is having the squad depth that they obviously need, especially like if any injuries come in to play. He'll be great for that. And he's a tricky player. He's like I said, can get in the pockets and he can do a bit of everything really. But it's just whether he's consistent enough. He'll keep up those performances, and if his attitude, if he's on the bench, for example, will he start sulking? Will his head be in the game? That is a different question.
Yeah, fair play, man. It sounds like a good deal for both, really, because we don't really see 20
100%.
to 27 million as a bad deal, and you guys are happy with it. So it sounds like it's a deal that both clubs will be okay with. I must admit, I would have Matoma over him. He looks unreal. Like, he looks so good, man. Yeah, I saw him come on a few months ago against Spurs, and I thought, "Who is this lad? He looks unreal, man. Like, he looks so," and he's been quality.
Do you know the mad thing is, he was playing university football like 3 years ago.
I read this. That's
he was playing at uni. He was balling out at uni, and then I think he went and played in the Japanese Pro League, and then we scouted him from there and signed him from there. And now I think he's second behind only Messi in taking on players in the opposition box. So. It's not bad, is it, to be behind the goat in taking on players inside the box, which is pretty mad. So, yeah, he's an absolute baller. If we lost him, I'll be absolutely devoted. I'm not gonna lie. So
yeah, man, he looks class. Him and Caicedo and McAllister. I mean, the list goes on. Brighton have done so well, man. You deserve your flowers, and De Zerbi does, man. He's come in. He's taken over from Potter. And to me, you wouldn't know Potter's left. Like, the football you're playing is great. You still look good whenever I've seen you play. And I don't watch 90 minutes of Brighton every week, but I certainly watch the highlights and look at them and see what they can do. And I've been impressed, Maz. I really have. So fair play to you, man. Just last question. Do you think that you'll go in the market and try and replace Trossard now? Or have you heard any rumours for Brighton?
We were linked with a striker. I can't remember his name's eluded me right now, but yeah, I think we're in the market for a striker, not necessarily a winger or like a number 10 as Trossard was. So I think we're going to go into the market for a striker because I think Undav might be on his way out on a
Oh,
loan.
really?
Yeah, he's just not done anything this season. We signed him on from USG. I think he scored like 30 goals last season for USG, who won the league in Belgium, but then just hasn't done anything for us. So I think we're in the market for a striker. And then, of course, dependent on Caicedo and McAllister staying, if they leave, or either of them leave, obviously we'll be looking for a central midfielder, I'm assuming. And then finally, Colwell, if we can sign him, get him on a permanent, that'll
He
be
looks all right, doesn't he?
He looks very good, yeah. As much as it pains me to say, as a Chelsea player, he does look very, very good. But what I don't want us to do is build him up, make him class, and then off you pop back to Chelsea, and it's like, what's the point? Why have you done that? But yeah, we'll see.
I've asked these three, and I've put a smile on my face. Think Arsenal can win the league this season, Maz?
Was it 8 points?
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think irrelevant of the Man United result on Sunday. Was it Sunday, Saturday?
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. I think you will, just because of like how big the gap is. Right? I know we're only halfway through, but I just don't see Man City. They're just not great at the moment, are they? Like, even though they've got Haaland up top and all that kind of stuff, it's just, I don't know, with them it's just not clicking at the moment. And then who's in third? Is it United in third?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we saw them draw against Palace, which is never good. And then draw against Palace, I mean, you must be struggling. And then obviously they're now lost Casemiro for Arsenal. So, yeah, I think, will it be 12 points for Man United and then potentially 11 with Man City?
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously there's games in hand and stuff as well. Like, it's mental. I mean, if we honestly beat Man United and then go and beat Man City, which we've got a few games after, I think it's ours massive.
Yeah.
I mean, we've
100%.
A cliff. Do you know what I mean? Like,
game over. I think it's game over regardless. I think, after Sunday's game, I think no matter what happens, I think it's game over. I think you've run away with it, I think.
I hope so, man. I really hope so.
Need Spurs to do you a favour tonight.
That's what I'm kind of hoping. I don't want to go down that road. They're playing at 8. Joe, I've got to ask you, man, because every time I speak to you, I talk about this guy, and Pads has said the same thing, man. Says, Dan, can you ask Joe about Gnonto? Looks a quality player. I said to you about 4 weeks ago, I was like, who's that lad who come up? Because I didn't know much about him. And he's been quality since, man. He looks wicked, bruv.
Different gravy, and 3.5 million. Brighton aren't the only ones that are pulling out these gems, I tell you. No, it's good, man. It's good to see, because the recruitment at Leeds United gets a bit of stick from Leeds fans at times, but with the youngsters, we do tend to pick them well. You know, we got him from Zurich. He came through at Inter Milan, got sold to Zurich, obviously. Mancini gave him his Italy call up, so he already had played international football before he obviously came to Leeds United. Jesse was like saying, "Oh, he's not ready for the Prem," because what happened is we actually were supposed to sign Bamba Dieng on transfer deadline day. Then he never got on the plane, so then we had to rush through the Gnonto deal. We weren't actually due to sign him until next season, so because they were panicking, they rushed it through. Obviously, I mean, it's worked a treat, really. You know what I mean? We sort of signed him early by accident. And, he just looks different gravy, mate. Every time he gets on the ball, he looks like he can make things happen. That goal last night, I mean, that first goal within a couple of seconds, whatever it was Di Canio-esque, weren't it? It was really nice. And the thing is, he just looks an awesome human as well. Do you know what I mean? He just looks like whenever you see the inside training vids and all that sort of stuff, it's just like him and Somerville as well, I think, have struck up a real friendship, which is good, man. You need that stuff, especially when you're a young lad, you know. Somerville from Holland, him from Italy originally. It's like, it's nice that they've got that. And to pick him up for just 3.5 million, I mean, Gary Neville, Roy Keane, all these speaking on him, I mean, he's not going to be here forever. It's clear to see, you know. I think everyone's shocked, but I know I don't want to sell him already, but I'm just thinking, wow, the upturn we'll make on him after paying just 3.5 million is insane. So, and they're the sort of deals that enable us to progress as a football club, right? In order to climb back up the table, if you like. So, yeah, happy, mate. Attacking wise, Leeds United have got many options, many options. You know, just signing Rutter as well. I'm excited with what's going that way. It's the other way that's the problem, and the coach with the tactics that he employs. I think we're a good manager away from really starting to climb up the table, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's funny, one of my friends is a massive football fan, but he supports Dagenham, so that tells you all you need to know. Bless him. But he don't really do do football in terms of like watching every single game. But I was watching the Man United game last night. And I've got it here because he just said, he texted me in a group chat last night and said, just seen a fantastic goal 30 seconds into the kickoff. Some little lad I've never ever heard of, and I can't say his name, in the FA Cup, reminiscent of a classic Di Canio volley. So I watched it and I thought that would do. I watched it, thought, wow, unbelievable. And it was him. I was like, I bet that's going to be that Gnonto kid. And it was. So, yeah, you need to keep hold of him, man. He looks like an absolute talent. And I think you're right. Going forward with Leeds is not the issue. It's like defensively, even under Bielsa, you knew that was an issue. And I'm a bit with you, Joe. I'm not too sure this Jesse Marsch is the guy, if I'm honest with you, but I could be proven wrong. Depends where Leeds want to go. If you want to finish 17th, I think stick with him. If you want to try and move forward, I'm not sure he's the answer, but I could be wrong, man. I could be wrong. But you know, you're spending money, and Leeds aren't afraid to. Do you know what I mean? 35 million for that Gnonto guy, or whatever his name is.
Jorginho Rutter. And I think we're in pole position to sign Azzedine Ounahi, which for me would be a great signing. I think Napoli want him as well, but they're not willing to. I mean, I think Leeds are willing to go between 20 to 25. Napoli want to pay 15 and get him next year. I know Leicester were muted as having an interest. I think Villa as well now, but seems Leeds are further down the road. So I'm got a show with Ben Jacobs actually at 8 o'clock. So hopefully he'll give us some more information on it. But yeah, Ounahi would be the one, because behind Robertson Rocker, we're talking Adam Forshaw, we're talking youngsters. It's not good enough. So if we had an injury, I know it's not on your level, but if we had an injury like you with Partey, if we had an injury to either Adams or Rocker, we're really up shit creek in that respect. So we need another midfielder ideally.
Yeah, fair play, man.
Talking about that, is it Reuter, the guy you got from
Reuter? Yeah.
He was on that list, the list I was talking about earlier with Matoma. He's actually on that list as well. So he seems like a very progressive, exciting talent. So I think Leeds are. I said it about Jesse Marsch as well. I wasn't a big fan because when he first joined, I wasn't too sure, and then he done really well at the beginning of the season, and you know Leeds were doing well, and then sort of his form dipped, and everyone started blaming Marsch. So it's interesting to see. Yeah, what happens with him? I don't think he's the right choice for Leeds. I've got a big Leeds fan as a mate, unfortunately, and he doesn't stop banging on about how March madness, I think he calls it, when Leeds are doing well. But then as soon as Leeds aren't doing well, he's like, get him out. So yeah, calls him Ted Lasso after that. So yeah, I just don't know if Leeds fans are coming or going with Jesse Marsch.
I think, to be honest, the general consensus has started to strike me. Mate, I've never backed him. I got called anti-American. It's nothing to do with the fact that he's an American. I like Brendan Aronson. I like Tyler Adams. I'm just not big on Jesse. Yes, we beat Cardiff, but this is a Cardiff side in the Championship that have struggled to score goals, and they scored 4 goals against us in 2 games. There's moments in the game yesterday that it drops to their players who miscontrol it, don't get their first touch right. If that's at the weekend against Brentford and it's Mbuemo, it's Wissa, it's Tony, they're scoring, So going forward, it's okay. Just we're too open defensively. He plays a high line with Liam Cooper and Pascal Strout, players that are not pacey. You've seen it, Billy. You've seen it, like look at that first goal against Villa on Friday night. The frustrating thing is you scored that exact same goal against us in pre-season. The exact same goal, which is months ago. And the same goals.
A different manager.
Well, the same goals we concede all the time. It's just frustrating. So, yeah, I look, he's on borrowed time for me personally. It's quite interesting. We lost a coach to MK Dons. Mark Jackson's gone to manage at MK Dons, and we've not replaced him yet. And every time Jesse's asked, and he's like, oh, it's getting closer. I'm not sure the club are willing to sign off on a coach just yet, just in case this run, which includes Brentford, Forest, Southampton, Everton, if he don't come through that, he's gone. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's why they're holding off. We'll have to wait and see, though.
Yeah, man. Long way to go, but
yeah,
I think I've always said Leeds will be safe, if I'm honest. I don't see him going down. I really don't. I think they do have a little bit of fight in them and that extra bit of quality. the way to look at it is, are there 3 worse teams in the league than Leeds? And I think there is, if I'm honest. So things can change, but we'll see what happens, man.
To be fair, just quickly,
on,
in that game against us, I think if it wasn't for Emi Martinez, we could quite easily have lost that game as well. His saves like that, the one was it Willie Gnonto as well. That the one on the line, and he's just I think if you play like that, you will. You will.
I agree, man. I agree.
It's just whether you can do that at the end.
It's too inconsistent. This is the thing. Jesse said it's his most complete performance since I've been here, but there's no guarantee that against Brentford we'll see exactly the same. You're right. If we see that week in, week out, we will climb up the table, but we don't, and that's the worry. So we'll have to wait and see.
Just quickly on Emi Martinez as well. I think he's a great keeper, but he's the biggest shithouse and the biggest time waster I've ever. Like at the Amex when he beat us 3-1. Honestly, I wanted to be that guy. You know the guy who kicked the Spurs fan who kicked.
Oh man, honestly, don't go there, Maz.
I felt like doing that. Emi Martinez at the Amex, mate. Honestly, the geezer, the amount of time he wastes is outrageous. I know he done it against Leeds as well, because like I said, my colleague, he was banging on about it for about 3 hours.
Would you care if he was your keeper, though, Maz?
No, do you know what? Obviously, I would love it. I love it.
Anyone that's your, you love it.
I love that part of the game because it does add a bit of spice. Do you know what I mean? But the fact he's not my keeper, it does piss me off. The amount of time he wasted, we could easily have about 10 minutes added on time with him. But yeah, that's just one part of it. It does aggravate me with, and also the stuff he did with Mbappe. I think is a bit step too far. Like I like
that, Maz. I like that. You know, I backed it because I said he's a world champion, man. I'd be the same man. Like, come on.
To be honest with you, in terms of that Mbappe stuff, I think I can't. I think it's just the case of him. It was part of the. They were doing it in the streets, weren't they? I can't see Emi Martinez sat up at night gluing a mask of Mbappe on a baby. That's just something that someone's chucked up onto the bus, and he's been the one to have a little joking around with. I don't think there's anything too. Yeah, I think people are looking into it a bit too much, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think if he was my keeper, I'll be defending him to the sky, to the sky.
Yeah, exactly.
I do enjoy it though. I do love a bit of shithousery, so it's all a bit fun.
Fair play, man. Anyone who grabs hold of the World Cup and does that is a legend in my eyes. But there we go. Bill, you've had some news today. It's an outgoing. Yeah. It come out of nowhere for me. I never saw that happening. I woke up and it was, I think West Ham might want Ings, and then 2 seconds later he'd signed. I thought, huh? How's that work? It's literally come out of nowhere. Is this? I'll ask you is this good or bad news for Villa? Because the way I see it, I mean, I like Danny Ings. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good player, but someone's surely got to be coming in for you. So is it like exciting, or is it one that kind of you're frustrated about, Billy?
I'm stuck in the middle, to be honest with you, because I love Danny Ings. I think he's a fantastic player. But the only thing is he's not an Unai Emery striker. He's not very quick anymore anyway, although he will run his socks off for you. And I think we saw in the Leeds game when Watkins went off how much we really missed him. And yes, he will take 3 or 4 chances to get a goal, but the stuff that he does for the team outside of that is so much more. And you know, for someone to come on 70 minutes, if we need to change something up, if Bailey's not doing, if he's not working, then you've got someone like Danny Ings to come on, as we saw in the Wolves game. You know, Danny Ings comes on, gets us the equaliser. All of a sudden, we looked like we could win it. Unfortunately, we didn't. So that's what Danny Ings can bring to you, and I'm gutted that he's gone. To be honest with you, for that reason, I think. For me, anyway, in January, it's 15 million for a Premier League proven striker like Danny Ings. He's such a clinical finisher. I just think 15 million is an absolute bargain for him, to be honest with you. As a Villa fan, I would much rather us wait until the summer and let him go for 10, to be honest with you. He's got 18 months left on his contract now. I'd much rather us wait until the summer to then get rid of him for a little bit of a lesser price because of what he can add when coming on late in games. That being said, I trust Unai Emery, and I trust him to make the correct decision. If he feels like we need to bring in another forward, then we will do. Similarly to Arsenal, we're not just going to go out and buy anyone in a panic. If the right player comes up and is available for a decent price, then we'll get him. If not, we may have to wait until the summer. You know, we've got this Jon Duran, a young kid from Chicago Fire, Colombian, 19. We've just spent close to 15, 20 million on him. I don't think he's going to be a direct replacement for Danny Ings. I don't think for a second that we've bought him in knowing that Ings is going to be leaving 2 days later. But, you know, it's an exciting one. I'm excited to see what he looks like. All of the clips and stuff I've seen looks like a top striker, exactly what we need. An Unai Emery striker. So yeah, like I say, I'm stuck in the middle. I love Danny Ings. I don't know what it is. I've always liked him since he came to us. I think the timing that he came to us was the club was a little bit all over the place. You know, it was a deal that was done similarly to this one today. He was announced out of nowhere. You'd heard nothing about Danny Ings when he first signed for us, and then at 4:30 in the afternoon, you see a notification on your phone. Shit, we've just signed Danny Ings. What? Like, you know, it was all a bit mad. Jack Grealish had just left. We was under Dean Smith. You know, it was just such a mad time he's had at Villa, and he hasn't really been able to kind of settle down and properly have a run in the team. Dean Smith gets the sack. Steven Gerrard comes in and prefers Ollie Watkins because he's a bit quicker, a bit, you know, and he's just never really been able to have a run. And then Gerrard leaves and we bring in Unai Emery, who again doesn't really fancy him. I think for Danny Ings, it's a move that he probably needed. I'm just gutted that it's happened in January, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, there's a rumour going around that Moyes said signings and they thought he meant signings. So they got him. But listen, I think it'll be a fair signing for West Ham. I mean, it might keep them up. You never know.
His goals will keep them up, unfortunately.
I'd love to see West Ham go down. I just want to see Lawless crying into his Kleenex. It'd be absolutely brilliant. But there we go.
Yeah, he's still in the race for Europe show.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, get us in there, mate.
Do you know what I don't understand though? It's like, what's happening with Scamacca? What's happening with Antonio? I've just seen on Twitter as well. Is Scamacca injured?
Yeah, Scamacca's injured. Yeah.
Antonio,
is it long term?
You know,
I'm not sure. I'll speak to a West Ham fan earlier, and he said he's injured. I don't know how long for though.
Cool. I've just seen the link with Mothy as well, the one who was linked with Southampton, and they've put a bid in, and I don't know how credible that is, but it's like, are they just stockpiling? I'm not too sure. I'm just not convinced that David Moyes can do it with certain types of players. Maybe Danny Ings will fit him, but for them to spend as much money as they have, they seem to be going backwards, don't they? And then they're allowing him to buy more. And if they go out and get Mothy and they get obviously Danny Ings in the door as well, it's a lot of moving parts. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think with Moyes, they're talking about him going anyway, but they're saying that Antonio is probably going to end up at Wolves or something like that. So that's why they're getting these lads in. So, and Scamacca, I didn't know was injured, Maz, to be fair. Sorry, Maz, you're going to come in, bro. Go on.
No. I was just going to say, I think Scamacca got injured against Leeds, and I think they said it's up to a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I think they're struggling up top, I think. But it's interesting as well with David Moyes, because apparently there's rumours of him going back to Everton. There's going to be a little...
I've heard this.
El Saki.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
The loser gets boys.
Loser gets boys. Yeah.
Lampard's interviews are just getting more and more cringeworthy, mate. Like today, it's just so embarrassing I was embarrassed for him. Do you know what I mean? Like he's sitting there, he knows he's on borrowed time, and he's trying to answer these questions like as a smart ass. It's just he needs to go. I said that he go.
His interviews when he does that accidental partridge, where he goes like he starts laughing and then he goes, "No, but seriously, we're going to get relegated."
Yeah.
It's like, mate, what is going on? And I know Joe, you must be a big fan of him with his.
I hate him, bro.
Yeah.
I hate him. I've always said he's just not the one, is he? I don't rate him at all. I've never rated him. Every team he's played or managed has gone backwards, and was only a couple of weeks ago. He said, when I came here, we were in a relegation battle. It's like, you've been there a year. Your job is to get them out of that battle.
Yeah, it's not like you've been there 2 weeks.
No, exactly. And then there's all this misconception, like, because he's got a lot of friends in the media. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and some of them are Chelsea fans naturally, so they back him, and they're like, well, what's he supposed to do when he hasn't spent any money? And you actually look, and they have spent money, they have spent money under Lampard, even still. They brought in Onana, Idrissa Gana Gueye won't be on cheap wages, they brought in Morpé, they brought in others, but apparently he's not spent any money. He's the media's darling, and I think the only, when this goes inevitably tits up, and it will, the only frustrating thing for me is that we will see him on every single broadcaster going, and that's the only problem. He'll be on Sky, he'll be on or someone will pay for him, won't they? Sky, BT or BBC, and we'll have to deal with him week in, week out. So that's another frustrating thing.
I just have to hope that some monkey club, some dodgy club just comes in and says, yeah, we'll have you, Fat Frank.
But I think that's the problem, though. It's like he still gets good jobs.
I don't
understand why. It's like,
it's literally just because of his name. It's like Gerrard. He's done nothing, but you can guarantee that in a few months' time, he'll be the rumor mill will start for whoever's got a job going, and Gerrard's name will be there, and he may even get it because he's Steven Gerrard.
I'm not convinced he's a bad manager, though, Stevie G.
From what I saw of him, he is.
Obviously, it didn't go right at Villa, but I'm not convinced. I've seen enough about him at Rangers, whereas Frank, I've never seen anything about. I don't know that.
Yeah, that's
also. I think Joe. I think anyone could win the league in Scotland. To be fair, so.
To be honest with you, I think the Rangers stuff was partly Mick Beale as well, or
maybe
majorly Mick Beale, who's back up there, isn't he?
Yeah, I heard that was the rumours, wasn't it? That he was like basically the manager, but Gerrard was at the front of it all.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen. I think it was Ben Foster. I think he did an interview with Emi Martinez when Gerrard was there, and he was saying that Mick Beale was. They're like two managers, but Steven Gerrard's the face of it, basically. And as soon as we lost Mick Beale to QPR in the summer, it was a bit of right. Here we go again, kind of thing. Because the summer before that as well, we lost our assistant manager. He just retired from football for whatever reason. So it was a little bit, can we just get through a summer without losing an assistant manager, like a crucial piece of the puzzle? And then we get Neil Critchley in, and the rest is history. It doesn't work out. But
I think Villa are a good manager now, man. I'm not saying
absolutely,
because he was at Arsenal, and because I wanted him gone at Arsenal because I felt like he couldn't take us to a title. But I still think he's a great manager, and I think he'll do well at Villa. I think that's a really good appointment, by the way, Bill. I really do, man. So we'll see what you can do. Ash, waiting quietly, mate. Because Leicester, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I never know what to come to about Leicester. They just seem that club that's just like there at the moment. Do you know what I mean? I don't even mean that like horribly. It's like
no, you're right.
I never really hear much about you. You look like you might be back and then you lose again. Brendan looks like he's lost his job, then he's safe again. Just like most inconsistent team of the league, aren't you, at the moment? Any rumours of any signings or ingoings or outgoings? I know we touched on Tielemans, but
yeah, there is actually. So there's a guy from Copenhagen who's having a medical today. Christensen, left back. All I can go on, I'm not going to pretend I've watched the guy a lot, but I can go on Twitter, and the Copenhagen fans seem pretty gutted he's going, saying he's a great left back. So the first rumoured fee was something like 8-9 million, but it's ended up closer to 20 million euros that we've had to pay. But the agreement's done now. We were sort of flirting with a Fiorentina winger as well, Nico Gonzalez, the Argentine, which has, what I understand, has felt a bit because we wouldn't pay 40 million. We submitted 30 million and then 35, I believe, which was rejected as well, and we walked away from that. So now winger-wise, we've turned our attentions to Tete, who's on loan at Lyon at the minute. So that's a rumour as well. A centre-back for Stoke, the Australian, Sutar, I think his name is. Suter, yeah. £10 million we've put first bid in. That's been rejected, but Stoke are willing to negotiate with us. So that's another one that we're looking at. And then this is a really light rumour that I've heard of, which is Alban Lafont, the goalkeeper. Which, if we got them four in, brilliant. We've filled all the holes that I've been moaning about.
Goalkeeper finally, Ash.
Yeah, literally, like all the holes that I've been moaning about all season, which is a centre back, somebody who's going to come in and play with Wout-Face instead of Amate, who we signed as a central defensive midfielder, playing centre back. It's not good enough in the Premier League to do that. Sionchu's on his way out, we think, to Atletico Madrid. But yeah, we if we get a winger, we get the goalkeeper in. The left back's sorted. That's done now, and it sounds positive on the centre back. I think we could stay up. That's all Leicester have got to do this season. We've got to stay up. It's simple.
You'll stay up, man.
Yeah.
That's not. Is that in conversation, Ash?
Yeah, seriously,
Really?
because there's actually been like a relegation. We've just took another loan out. Leicester City have as a business, and there's like an actual relegation clause been included in it. And in Rodgers' press conference today, he's basically openly admitting that we're in a relegation fight, and it's that simple. So, but some of the noise coming from him is worrying. Like, he was asked today saying, why are some of these big players not performing? And his answer was, well, maybe they thought they were going to be at bigger clubs. That's really unsettling to hear about some of your squad. Do you know what I mean? In a press conference when we're playing a team at the weekend who are flying at the minute. So,
that's
you
brutal,
are right,
isn't it?
Dan.
What a brutal response that is. Maybe they want to go somewhere bigger. Bloody hell.
Literally, like I think you hit the nail on the head with Leicester City's season last episode we had, which is Leicester are just going to have a cycle all season, which is we're going to win a few games and look steady, probably touch near the top half, and then drop back down. I think a good result for us will be finishing like 13th, but I think realistically, I think we could be 16th even. I think we could be that far down. I don't think we will drop if we get a few signings in, but if we don't get more than this signing in, I worry for us. I do.
Man, you need Maddison back, bruv, big time.
He's going to be in the squad Saturday. So,
that's good.
Yeah, him, and obviously we've had Dewsbury Hall out as well, who's another great prospect for us.
Really
He's not
good
been
player.
playing. Yeah, so he's not been playing either. So that's most of our creativity that's been injured through these games that we've been getting absolutely slapped. And Dewsbury Hall's definitely back at the weekend. And they said Maddison might be in the squad, but he won't be starting. So, yeah.
Ash, you managed to make Harry Souttar sound exotic as well, mate. So I like that. I was like, who's this guy on the continent? Souttar.
Yeah, he's meant to be solid.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, he played at the World Cup, didn't he? He played at the World Cup, I think, for Australia. So yeah.
Yeah.
Fair play, man. See how you get on, bro. See how you get on. Guys, last thing we're going to do to wrap up the stream is I'm going to put you all on the spot. I'm going to ask you a question, which is, who would you like your clubs to sign this window? And be realistic about it. I'm going to go first to give you some thinking time. Before I do that, I'm going to do this super chat, which comes in from Keenan. Dan, your thoughts on a loan move for Camavinga? Yes, I'll take him tomorrow, but I can't see it happening unless I've missed something and he's available for loan. I think Real Madrid are struggling in midfield with a few. I know he's not playing every game, but I really rate this kid. I think he's got an unbelievable future. So, yes, 100%. If that was ever an option and Arsenal were interested in a loan, yeah, 100% I would, Keenan. I think that would be a great move. And midfield is an option. I'm going to go first. Tielemans is obviously the one I spoke about. I think that would be realistic, but it doesn't really cover the Thomas Partey role. The player that would, and I'm not so sure is as realistic, is a player I've liked in the Premier League for a long time, Ruben Neves. Now, I think Wolves would be mad to let their captain go in a relegation battle, so that's why it could be unrealistic. But I think if we had the money and was going to offer between 35 and 50 million for him, I think Wolves would probably say yes. So that would be a player that can come in and do the Thomas Partey role, number 6 and a number 8. I think he'd be a very good signing for Arsenal. So I would choose him if we don't go in for Tielemans, who, like Ash says, could be just gone in for nothing in the summer. So that's what I would go with. Maz, let's come to you first, bro.
I think, yeah, for me personally, if we were to sign anyone, I'm actually pretty happy with the squad as it is at the moment. But if we had to sign someone, it'd probably be a striker. And I've seen we've been linked with a player called Castellanos, which I don't know much about. I know Leeds were linked with him as well. But he's a striker. I think he's from
MLS,
American,
isn't it?
yeah, MLS. But I think
Yes,
he's on loan at
MLS.
Girona in Spain.
Right, okay.
So yeah, apparently he's meant to, I'll be honest, I'm not going to front. I don't have a clue about him, but apparently he's meant to be a very good player. Plays up top, and I think that's an area we need to have strength and depth, especially with Undab potentially going out on loan. So yeah, I think I'd like to see him come in, or any striker, to be honest, that we can get our hands on, even like a loan potentially. That would be good. Obviously, Colwell's paid off really well, so if we can get maybe a striker in just to cover until the summer, and then we can proper look at it come then.
Mate, I wouldn't worry if I was Brighton. I would just, you're going to sign someone no one's ever heard of and he'll come in and do a job. You know what I mean? It just seems that way. It's absolutely
You can only
mad.
last so long, Dan. That's my worry. So when's that scouting system going to be finished up? Because
people were saying the same about Liverpool, to be fair, weren't they?
Mate, milk it though, Maz. Milk it.
Yeah,
while you can,
exactly. Yeah. Whilst we're on top, mate, it's never going to get any better than this, mate. So
absolutely, man. Listen, you're going for the Europa Conference, and if you finish above Chelsea, I'll be laughing all season.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that, bro. Joe, let's come to you, man. Leeds, realistic signing you'd like, man.
Realistic. It'd have to be a defender, someone with a bit of pace. Do you know what I really like? I don't know if it's realistic, but I really like Bella Kotchap at Southampton. I think he's really good. Someone, but this isn't realistic, but someone I've took a bit of a shine to be honest, has started tonight, which means I'm not going to get my Ben White points off the bench on the fantasy prem.
No.
Rico Lewis at City. Rico Lewis, I think, looks a baller, but you're not going to get him, are you? But let's say we could get a cheeky loan. I don't know. Doubt it, because he's starting tonight, but yeah.
Yeah, you never know with Pep what he's going to pick. Like, it's mad.
Yeah.
His formations and his team selections are mad. Billy.
Ooh, I think we need to replace Danny Ings, whether it's a direct replacement or just another forward option. I'd like to see either Gerard Deulofeu or Arnaut Danjuma. They're the two names that are being linked. I think Danjuma would be a loan with potential to make it permanent in the summer. And I think Deulofeu, I think I saw something today saying Udinese want about 20 million for him or something. So I think either one of them. I think we also need a midfielder if Unai Emery said today, if Sanson and Nakamba leave, then we could expect a midfielder coming in. Whether we want to spend 40 or so million on Guendouzi in the winter, I don't know. But yeah, that could be a loan move for someone as well. And then John Percy at the Telegraph said that we're also looking for a centre back as well, apparently. So that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on, because I don't think anyone really had us expecting to delve into the centre back market. So yeah, I'm not too sure what we're kind of planning, but whatever it is, I'm sure Unai Emery will get it bang on, and we've just got to back him. So fingers crossed that those come off, and yeah, let's push up the table for the second half of the season. Thing is now with the table, it's so hard because we're kind of stuck in 11th. We're adrift from the relegation battle, but we're, I think, 4 points away from 10th, where Chelsea and Liverpool are battling it out. And then you've got Brighton and Brentford just above them. So I need one of them to drop points eventually. I just want to see us top half.
I think you'll get top half. I think you'll get top half. I really do. I think Unai Emery will take you there, man. And you're going to spend you're the ones that I'm not bothered about on this panel that will spend. Like, you've always have done. So fair play to you. Ash, Harry Maguire back to Leicester for the year, do you reckon?
was it West Ham who was sort of dancing around him, was it? And it got rejected. No, honestly, Dan, if we're talking sort of this window, the goalkeeper rumours are the ones that sort of excite me. I think we need somebody that can command a back line. Danny Ward's just not got it in the locker, unfortunately. So a goalkeeper. I mean, ideally, what I'd love is Everton to get relegated and we nick Pickford in the summer. I'd love that because I think he'd do great at Leicester. But which realistically could happen if they do go down. You know, I don't think he'll stick around for that. But I think there'll be a lot of clubs that would be interested in him because I really like Pickford. But yeah, the Alban Lafont rumour does excite me, and I think that's what we need to do. We need to push out and get a goalkeeper. I wanted Nick Pope when he was sort of available, but and obviously Schmeichel, there was rumours of him going. I think we should have got him then, but obviously Newcastle are a team that are on the up and were building well, and it was a better place for him to go. So yeah, a goalkeeper for me, mate. Any solid
Fair
goalkeeper.
Anyone that's not Danny Ward.
Anyone.
Can't get any worse, Ash, to be fair.
No, he's so hot or cold. Like he had, what was it, 4 or 5 clean sheets when we were on the good spell. But then he just looks like a rabbit in the headlights again since the World Cup. Because he come on late, didn't he, in one of the games and conceded like 3 or 4 goals. And I just think it's knocked the stuffing out of him.
He got sent off against Iran as well, didn't he? No.
That's right. Yeah, he did.
That was Hennessy.
That was Hennessy.
No, that was Hennessy. Yeah.
And then
He came on. Yeah.
Ward come in, and that's when he conceded all the goals at the end of the game, and he's just not been the same since.
Nah, he ain't good enough, man. Leicester gone from Kasper Schmeichel to him. That's a massive drop off, mate. And no, fair play to you. Listen, lads, we're going to leave it there. I'm going to go and watch this game of football, and I don't even know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try and sneakily cheer on Spurs. It's going to be weird, but there we go. Absolute pleasure. Ash, always a pleasure, mate. Billy, likewise. Thanks. Joe, legend come. Maz, thank you for coming on, bruv, as well, mate, and talking Brighton. I hope Trossard is unbelievable signing for Arsenal and you're absolutely crying into your Kleenex, but you're not going to. So fair play to you, man. Thanks.
Transfer Show at 8 as well over on my channel. Sorry, Transfer Show at 8
yeah,
if you're stuck for something to do. Thank you.
Ben Jacobs, yeah?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
yeah, man. Plug your channel, Joe, because some of them.
Yes, Just Your Football Show. Just Your Football Show. Heavily Leeds, but we do other content as well. Check it out. Thank you. Thanks.
There you go, people. Over 350 at one stage watching live. Make sure you all go over and smash a like on Joe's stuff as well. And follow these guys on socials. We'll see you next week. Until then, up the Arsenal. Take care, people.